going on YouTube? This is Brooke, and today I want to talk about the 422 contract for sailors in the Navy. If you didn't know, you enlist for 8 years when you're coming into the Navy, and before you were able to do the 4 years get out and go to the individual ready reserves, which is basically like the C squad of the reserves, and you only muster once a year. You don't get paid, you get no benefits. But now they changed it after October 1 of 2020, and you have to obligate 6 years time in service before you're able to transfer into the IRR. That 6 years can look however of a mix that you want to have it. If you want to do 4 years active duty, get out and do 2 years into the selected reserves, or you do the 5 years, you get out, you do the 1 year. Either way, you have to obligate 6 total years of time in service of some sort of active duty reserve mix so that you can fulfill your contract. There are a couple caveats, however. If you are an undesignated sailor and you have not struck a rate, you are not held to this commitment. You can get out after the 3 years and go into the IRR, no problem, because you have not struck a rate. I still recommend you talking to a prior service recruiter in your area and discussing the reserves with an open mind, because it might be for you. And if you haven't struck a rate, there's a lot of opportunity that you can take advantage of if you do, and the reserves is not that much time out of your life, and it could be a great option for you. So I recommend it. It's a side hustle for you while you're going to school or whatever you're doing after you get out. That's one caveat. Another caveat is if your rate is not available in the reserves, then you are not obligated to serve in the reserves. It can be a little tricky to check the community health in the selected reserves because it's looked at once a year. So if you're looking 2 years ahead, it probably won't be updated. But you can always check the CellRes Overviews tab in My Navy HR and look at all the community health for all of the rates. Or you can talk to your career counselor and they can give you a little bit better of an idea. Or you can talk to a prior service recruiter and we can give you a good idea. But keep in mind, we won't really know unless you're getting out within the FY. However, just like the undesignated sailors, I still recommend you keeping the reserves as an option, keeping an open mind about it, because you could transfer into another rate and possibly set yourself up in the civilian world, whatever your goals are. Another thing that people always ask about, you are not eligible for a bonus if you are a 422 sailor and you're coming into the reserves because you signed the contract in the beginning. You are already obligated to that. You're not doing anything extra. You're just doing what you initially signed up for. However, if you change your rate in prize R into something else, you are eligible for the bonus for that rate. You do have to obligate more time depending on if it's an A school or not. You have to do either 3 or 4 years versus the 2. But if that's something that you are interested in, then definitely ask about that. So if you're a 422 sailor coming up on the end of your contract, how do you get into the reserves? First, you're going to want to have this conversation with your career counselor. They have to put in a Seaway quota for you. I know that it's a Seaway self portal, but the CCC has to put it in for you. And once you get that letter into the reserves, that's your ticket. You come and meet with us, a reserve recruiter, and we do some paperwork. We discuss which reserve center you want to go to, kind of give you some information, some details about your specific situation. And then we process the paperwork and wait for your EAOS. We send your paperwork to the reserve center. It's all pretty much done for you. There's nothing you have to worry about. And that is going to be done at your current command. And there's some confusion around who people need to talk to. If you are a sailor getting out, all of this paperwork is going to be done at your current command. Don't wait to go to your home of record and talk to a reserve recruiter there, because that's just going to delay your process. You can get everything processed with a reserve recruiter before your EAOS. Some 422 sailors are getting out and they're really excited about going to the selected reserves, and some not so much. And I just encourage you to go into the reserves with an open mind and figure out what your goals are in your civilian life and figure out how you can capitalize on this 2 years that you're going to be in. I guarantee that anyone can get something out of it, whether that's you want to go into a totally different career field and you can go and network with those types of people, or if you want to put in an officer package, you can start networking with the officers in the community that you want to go to, the benefits alone for the transition. Either way, try to use this 2 years and really take advantage instead of basically trying to figure out how to get out of it. Because you never know, you might end up loving it. Just to summarize everything, you have enlisted in active duty after October 1 of 2020. You are a 422 sailor. You either have to do 6 years of active duty or do some selected reserve time. If you are coming up to the end of your contract and you do fall under this 422 contract, have a conversation with your career counselor. And if you are in your EAOS and you haven't heard from a reserve recruiter, either ask your career counselor or reach out to someone like me. Thanks for watching and have a great day.